What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. Welcome to your afternoon news show. I have got Shreyas alongside me, and we are going to wipe the floor with the topics on the table. On today's agenda, we have Disney in talks with Manchester United for a massive multi-million pound documentary. We've got Jason Wilcox, who's looking at integrating a certain style of play to the club, which will obviously come in cohesion with recruitment and all these kind of things. A couple of interesting comments from Coventry players about Marcus Rashford on the weekend. Lissandro dropping cryptic messages on social media for good reasons, not for bad reasons. And we should have some Eric Ten Hag quotes because his presser, I believe, will be live in around 15 minutes' time. So once we get through the first couple of topics, we'll then see if we have any updates on injuries and what players will be available. Because let's be honest, that's the only reason why people are
Yeah,
paying attention to the press conference, just to see if anyone's
yeah,
fit or available.
yeah.
But before we do that, short as interesting. I know, didn't kind of expect this morning, but it is United, so many things happen. United are in a multi-million-dollar negotiation with Disney over a deal to make documentaries, initially with a view to create content about the Sir Alex Ferguson era. This is according to The Athletic, which claims that the productions would revolve around the 26-year period during which United won 38 trophies, including 13 Premier Leagues, 2 Champions League trophies, and 5 FA Cup titles. First and foremost, how fucking epic would that be? And second of all, this would kind of appeal a lot more as well to the kind of younger demographic, even yourself or myself, who was, I was 4 when we won it. I don't think he was alive when we won the treble. So having something like that would be nice to kind of look back, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and because I think it will divert more focus on the past as to why the
Rather than the
club is where
present.
it exactly. It shouldn't. I think they should make a clause in that contract that nothing from the present should be in there. Like
Yeah.
genuinely, nothing from the present should be there. But yes, I think it will genuinely divert a lot of focus to the past. People probably will be able to understand more as to why there are certain elements at this club, or why certain elements at this club are respected and honored to this day,
Hmm.
and the overall buzz, the overall atmosphere around the club. Because I think the new age football fans who are just joining in, they don't really understand how the atmosphere works. They don't really understand, the kind of momentum, the kind of emotions, and just the overall, not just from the perspective from the club, but from the perspective of the fans as well, as to how it actually works. Because I think most of the people who just join in football, they see the obvious choices in Madrid, they see Barcelona, they see Manchester City. But from the perspective, of just a pure footballing perspective, I think this will genuinely help in diverting a lot of focus towards it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section as well. We'll get to them very, very shortly. Again, whether you're watching this live or watching this later on. Brian Case saying, afternoon, lads. Hope you're both well. We are, as far as I'm aware.
Yep,
Shreyas, are you well?
yep, yep.
Shreyas as well. I hope you're well, Brian. When I first saw the headline, I thought it was going to be an all or nothing style documentary. Then I read the story, and thankfully it'll focus on the successful years. And
Yeah,
Charlie's
yeah,
saying, "Hey, I feel shafted. Where is the note?" I didn't put the poll up. Sam put the poll up, so you'd have to kind of pick your beef with him. But it's not a done deal yet. Apparently, United are kind of reportedly continuing to hold out for more favourable terms. Disney's current proposals in the ballpark of a low 7-figure deal. This is less than the offer they made when they started engaging in conversations surrounding the idea a few years ago. United have rather famously been against the creation of documentaries surrounding the Old Trafford club by streaming services, having turned down previous opportunities to create fly-on-the-wall documentaries in previous seasons. Shrez, I do think an all or nothing would really expose the club, wouldn't it? So
oh
it
yeah,
wouldn't. It makes sense why they've turned that down, doesn't it?
of course, of course. Because if they went for it, and then behind the scenes people are just rolling around the cameras,
Yeah.
we see what's going on in the training ground. You can see, I think a lot of players, especially at that point, if it happened, you
Yeah.
got players like Ronaldo at the club, you got players like Rashford at the club, you got I think you've also got the likes of new players in Casemiro coming in, just coming in, and
Hmm.
would have genuinely been a very terrible thing to happen. Because
Yeah.
then people would have just been able to actually see what's actually going on around the club. And right now I think United, they're not really easily able to keep things under wraps already, when you don't have documentaries and things like this happening. So imagine what would have actually happened if things like this happened. The scale of the leaks, the scale of the things that would have come out would have genuinely been unimaginable.
I know for sure if we would have done one this year, and in Ollie's last year, the numbers that we would have generated, not for good reasons, because there would have been so much outburst. I think over the past 2-3 years, the stuff that's happened, everything with Greenwood, Antony, Ronaldo, De Gea, the stadium, Glazers, probably more things that I can't remember, the injury situation we've had this year, probably many, many other things that I'm forgetting. My God, that's why they was probably negotiating so hard to do this kind of fly on the wall documentary, because you can imagine if they got that deal over the line and they had rights to that, it would blow up so
Yeah.
much. The
Yep.
numbers would be insane. And again, like I said, I think it'd be used more for negative rather than positive, because it'd be exposed. Well, how did you? I don't know if you've watched the other ones. How did you take in, the ones like Spurs, for example? I know they did one. Arsenal did one as well. Do you think it benefits the club?
I think it depends as to how people look at it, because
Mm,
even if you look at the Spurs one, even if you look at the Arsenal's one, the perspective from which sometimes people look at things can change the
hmm
dynamic altogether. Because if you see it from a just a pure criticism, or just as a if you have to divide positives and negatives sort of thing, then people can take it in a negative way. But if people just see it from the perspective that we just want to know what's going on,
Yeah,
how a manager is directing the club, how players are responding to the manager, then it can actually be a very positive aspect as well. So I think it just depends as to how people look at it
yeah,
and how they conceive it, the idea, the emotion. And as far as everything is concerned, how companies like Amazon are actually able to deliver these shows to the public.
yeah.
Yeah, I think even that matters a lot.
Yeah, Charlie's in the chat saying, I hope this money goes to maybe start removing the debt and not in the Glazers' pockets. Listen, mate, that's going straight in Avram's pocket. 100% that is going in the Glazers' pockets. And also, they're all starting to think now kind of outside the box with all these new FFP implications. They're thinking of how to outsource things and get money for it. So, for example, Tottenham are obviously doing the stadium, which, Beyonce is going to sing there and other artists from around the world, and they're hosting NFL games, which is another source of revenue for them. And I heard things about United potentially putting cameras on players during a game and getting footage like that. They're looking at other ways and alternative ways. Some people say that's great financially for the club. Others will say, well, things like documentaries won't help. So I think it's an interesting perspective. Brian says it benefits smaller clubs as it brings the club to a wider audience. Look at what it's done for Wrexham. United don't need that exposure. I'd probably agree with that. Yeah, I probably agree with that, to be honest. Now, we are going to move the conversation on from documentaries to directors. Technical director Jason Wilcox has been tasked with implementing an overarching playing vision for United so as to ensure recruitment is no longer of the scattergun variety, but anchored towards a specific methodology, identity, and style of play. United want to establish a clear, defined game model, a cohesive playing style, and identity that breaks the cycle of incoherent hiring and flawed squad building. That is music to my fucking ears. I wanted to ask you though, Shreyas, what style of play would you want to see, and what other teams in Europe do you admire right now who you watch and you're like, yeah, I really want that?
Personally, I would want to be in a situation where you've got a possession based club. Like, I think teams that are able to assert their presence in a game, teams that are able to just overall dictate the way the game goes by. Because I think United right now and for quite some time have been a club that is quite reactive on the pitch. Like, you know we allow other teams to actually take the first foot. We allow other teams to actually take the game by their hands, and then after that we play a certain way that is able to counter the opposition teams. I want to step away from that. I want us to be the
Okay.
team that actually grabs hold of the game, is able to direct the game in a certain direction, and then other clubs probably react to us and
hmm
actually try figure out a way to counter us. I think right now in Europe, if you look at it, I think last season Brighton were doing quite well, but this season the kind of way even they've been playing, the kind of the way
Very
they've been
open at the
leaking
back,
goals.
aren't they,
Yeah,
Brighton?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And they leak a lot of goals, so they're
Mm.
not really a perfect picture as to what I would want to do. But I wouldn't even want to play the way City do.
No,
Even
because it is boring, isn't it? I
yeah,
suppose when you're winning,
yeah,
people almost not ask, but it is a very kind of slow,
it is,
boring.
it is,
Yeah.
it is. I would want us to step more in the, I would say, in the direction of how Leverkusen have been playing. The
Mm.
way they are able to assert their presence over a game, they are able to, in said games they dominate possession. In said games they allow other clubs to actually come at them and then redevise their approach. So Leverkusen are definitely a club you could look at and take a couple of things from. Apart from that, Girona this season have been really really impressive for me as well. The way they play, especially against the big teams as well. They're not One thing I do like about them is they never change their game plan. Like they know what sort of the kind of way they want to play football, and it doesn't matter whether they come up against Madrid, whether they come up against Barcelona or an Atletico Madrid. They play that style of football, and it's been doing wonders for them. So I would want us to be stepping more in that direction, where we do have a lot more of the ball and we do a lot more on the ball, and our players are able to genuinely able to assert their presence over the game. Because right now we just don't have that. Whether it's even like a Casemiro, Menu has been a breath of fresh air, but I still think that if even he played in a sort of system where midfielders were actually playing like midfielders, they were able to maintain their shape and balance their line. I think Menu can even play 2 or 3 levels above what he's playing right now. So I would want us to be stepping more towards a team that can control the game a lot more.
I think an interesting point is having the players to do it as well. So
Yeah,
it's not like you can bring Pep in at United now and just say, yeah, play ball, because we don't have
exactly.
players to do that.
Yeah.
And they actually touched on this in the article. So this was from the Telegraph, the same article from James Ducker. And he said United realised they cannot swing wildly from one system to another just to fit a coach, such as someone like
Exactly.
Julian Nagelsmann, for all his talents, and certainly not when they have to even begin the process of gradually unpicking a Frankenstein squad. They realise they must settle on a way of playing they believe can deliver winning, attacking, entertaining football, and then ensure the coach chimes firmly with that. And I thought the Nagelsmann narrative is interesting in it, that they don't want to go for him because they realise the Rashfords and the Brunos, and we don't have wing backs and all this kind of thing. So what style of play do they fit then? Because if we're talking realistic terms, you can't. It's going to take years to get rid of all these kind of key players, if you will. So how do you manage that? How do there's going to be teething issues, of course. What style can you get them to suit, if that makes sense? A hard question, but yeah.
I think with Bruno, I'm still a bit more optimistic.
Okay.
The
What makes you
only
say that
reason
though?
being because I have actually seen him change the way he play. Like since
Okay.
Ten Hag has come in, he came under Oli, we saw him play a certain way. Now Ten Hag has come in, you can see a big difference as to how Bruno actually plays on the pitch if you compare it to how Bruno played under Oli. Now if you compare Rashford, how he played under Oli, how he played under Ragnick, and how he's been playing under Ten Hag as well throughout his tenure. It's been the same. Like I'm not seeing a big difference as to the way Marcus Rashford actually plays on the pitch. He's still that goal-scoring winger. He's still someone who likes to cut in on his right foot and go for goal. There's not really been and I've never seen that side of Rashford where I would go and say he's changed this dimension of his play completely. He's still that sort of a winger. But with Bruno, that's why I'm a little bit more optimistic because he, under Oli, I didn't see this sort of a work rate under him. I genuinely didn't see it. He was someone who was naturally just playing as, that number 10 playing close to the striker, just waiting for the ball at the half turn and just deploying Rashford or Martial on
Mm.
the counter attack. But now under Ten Hag, his work rate is immense. He's everywhere on the pitch. Whenever
Mm.
he covers every single blade of the grass. And apart from it, he's been played as a six as well. He's been played as an eight. He's been played as a 10. He's been played as a progressive eight who just keeps on occupying areas in the attacking third. So I just think one thing we need for any manager that does come in, you need to provide that sort of discipline to the midfield, because right now none of our players in the midfield are disciplined. Everyone is just going haywire. Um, but I do think that with the right manager coming in, I think Bruno is someone who can still be made a lot of use out of, because there are still aspects to his game that can be used by a variety of managers. When it comes to Rashford, there is only one. I would say there is genuinely only one dimension of his play that can be used, and that's play him out wide on the left hand side and just hope that he gets the job done.
Thing is with Bruno though, I look at him, I look at how much work he's put in throughout his whole career, and he's
Yeah.
pushing 30 now. I think at some point his legs are gonna drop off.
That's why I think that the next manager coming in should actually just maintain the line in the midfield and allow Bruno to
Yeah.
just play the way he originally does, because this way, you it's it's actually quite surprising he hasn't gotten any injury this season with the way he has been playing on the pitch.
Because the criticism under Ollie was we'd have McFred sat right in front of the defence, and then there'd be a huge gap from that sense
Yeah,
from them to the attacking five.
earlier on there wasn't a link between
Yeah,
Bruno and the midfield.
yeah.
Right now we do have players that can make that link
Mm.
between Bruno and the midfield. The only problem is that there are so many holes. The midfield is so far expanded that you just cannot make use out of it
Yeah, it's a
when
good
you're out
point.
of possession.
Me and Sam was discussing yesterday that I don't know if you saw the news around Hoyland arguing with Bruno and Dallo and these kind of guys who's not getting enough service. And I do think you could even put Erling Haaland in this team at the minute and he would struggle to score genuinely because he just gets
Yeah.
no service. I think he's missed more big chances than Hoyland's had shots on target or something ridiculous like that. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, crazy stats. And whilst we're on the conversation of these kind of players like Rashford and Bruno and these kind of guys, there was a couple of comments from Coventry players on his performance on the weekend about how bad he was, how they could nullify him, and all these kind of things, which I thought was interesting. It's $1 million question, Shreyas, but I want you to try and answer it. Why does Rashford dip and peak so much, in your opinion?
I think as a player, he is someone who is, from the perspective of the club, he's supposed to be the consistent figure. Like genuinely from the sort of the side of a club, if you look at it and they see at Marcus Rashford, they see the poster boy, they see someone who is supposed to be the leader of this team, and I think they see him also as a figure who they expect that this guy will take United to greater things. But if when you look at it from a completely footballing sense, Rashford is not that person. He is not someone who can propel you towards the Premier League. He's not someone who can propel you towards that top three, top two perspective. Top two conversation. Um, he can be a very good and effective player. He can be someone who can cause a lot of issues to defenders, but he's very inconsistent, and that is something that has stuck with Rashford throughout his career. He can be when he's on a good run, he can end up having a 20 goal, 30 goal season. But when he's not in form, he can easily have a 6 goal or 7 goal in total, across all season. And I just think that United right now, they need to step away from the conversation of Rashford being the number one. When you look at an attack, like yeah, I think even now with the sort of alternatives that we've got, with sort of choices that we've got, you've got Anthony not been performing well, and once again very very young. You've got Hoyland very very young, Garnacho very very young, Ahmad very very young. Then you're left with Marcus Rashford playing on from the left, supposed to be the leader, is actually quite experienced in a United shirt, is not delivering for us. So I think there are only two ways, things can go with Rashford. One, he sticks at the club, but he's not the number one choice. Like someone else comes in and takes his position. He's not the number one choice, and
But just on that, sorry to interrupt you. Should he not have already been dropped already in this
he
team?
should have been. But I think in certain conversations, and in especially regarding certain players, I don't think even Ten Hag can actually do a lot, because if he does actually look at his options when he looks at his attacking line, he goes, okay, Hoyland's there, then I've got Garnacho. Apart from it, I've got Anthony, who hasn't really been performing all season, and then I've got Rashford. That's it. So it's not like the manager has actually got a lot of options to choose from. Even he's not got only a few options to choose from. And the reason I think right now the reason actually Rashford has been getting the opportunities that he's getting is just because in said games people still expect him to score.
Yeah.
Like he is someone, in a Manchester derby or in a match against Liverpool, he is someone who can get you that one goal, and that's the only reason that he's been picked over and over and over and over again. And considering he's still the senior player in that attacking line, it does create a lot of pressure on the manager as well, because I think Garnacho has been sublime this season with the kind of opportunities that he's got, with the way he has delivered. But I don't think any 19-year-old or 20-year-old should be carrying that pressure at this age. to come out and perform week in and week out and actually be the figure who pulls you out of defeats and turn them into victories.
I think Marcus Rashford an interesting one. I've got his stats up here in a minute, which I'm going to get through. I'm just going to put your volume up slightly, Trey, as well. Can you
Sure,
can
sure, sure.
can you put yours up? Because it's not letting me do it for some reason. I don't know why. Or just maybe speak closer to the thing, because apparently you sound super low. But yeah, and we've also just had some breaking news. Oh my god, which I'll get into in a moment. Jesus Christ, just stay with us. I'll get into it in a minute. But yeah, just to
Yeah,
end on Marcus Rashford, I was looking at his stats per season. So the first 3 seasons, he had like 5 goals, 2 assists. Yeah, so he's integrating into
yeah,
the team, absolutely fine. Then he gets 2018-19, 10 goals, 6 assists. After that, the 19-20 season, which we always reference, 17 goals, 7 assists, 11 goals, 9 assists, and then the complete drop off in Ollie's last season, 4 goals, 2 assists. Spikes again under Ten Hag, 17
yeah.
goals, 5 assists, and then this season he's got 7 goals and 2 assists. So he is quite literally like a roller coaster, and he really, how he's not found that consistency yet is beyond me at the age of like 26, 27. So I've lost
The
hope with
thing is,
Marcus.
exactly that's the biggest, that is the biggest answer that you already got. He's 26 now.
Exactly.
There is the if something had to happen with him, it would have happened.
I mean,
If
we can't keep
and
fucking waiting, can we? Do you know what I mean?
exactly because it's affecting the club a lot. And on being on the same topic as well, when you see other clubs wingers playing, I'm genuinely going to say it doesn't really matter. I think at the end of the day, for me, goal contributions don't really matter as much. He can have a 5 goal contribution season, but being effective on the pitch
Your
is
overall
something that
game.
you need. Yeah, because if you look at Liverpool, Luis Diaz is not someone who pulls up with 30 goal or 40 goal contributions per season. He's not
Yeah.
that sort of a winger. Cody Gakpo as well. He's not a 30 or 40 goal
Mm.
contributor sort of a winger. But when they're on the pitch, they cause problems. They are effective. They are able to, involve themselves a lot in the build-up play. They allow players like Mohamed Salah and Darwin Núñez actually being the end figure, and they allow themselves to be part of the build-up and provide them with that platform to do what they do on, up front. Rashford, and I don't see Rashford as a sort of a player that can be part of a build-up. I don't see him having that sort of passing or vision to actually, be deployed in that sort of a role. The only way you can get the best out of Rashford is if he scores goals, because he is a pure goal-scoring winger. That's all he is. And I think the fact that you cannot even, get the best out of him playing as a number 9, I think that hurts Ten Hag a lot more, because considering even Hoyland has had a lot of injuries this season, if probably Rashford could have been made use a lot a lot more effectively as a number 9, maybe things wouldn't have been as bad as they've been for him this season. But I just think I think going into next season, and I've been saying it a lot of times as well now, I don't really feel the need for going for a right-sided winger or right-sided playmaker. We've had enough. I would say we've genuinely had enough problems going in from a for a right-sided winger in the past few seasons, and right now we've got a youngster in Garnacho who's actually been quite decent playing on that right hand side. You've still got a couple of youngsters in that in that area as well. Allow them to actually do their job from that right hand side. And personally, I would say go in for a left-sided winger, go in for a left-sided playmaker, because I really don't see a problem with Garnacho right now. Like whenever I do see him play, Garnacho can also be frustrating, but one thing he actually does is he's relentless. He'll keep running at you. He'll keep running at you. He won't stop till the 90th minute mark. So he still ends up being a lot more deadly and effective. Rashford doesn't do that. So for me, I would say go in for a left-sided playmaker or a winger. I think that's what United should be doing.
Well, we're probably going to need one tomorrow because we've just had some breaking news. The injury curse continues for
Continue.
Manchester United. So this is breaking news. Eric Ten Hag has said Scott McTominay, Marcus Rashford, Garnacho and Bruno are all carrying injury problems. He's hopeful that Garnacho and Bruno will make it, but McTominay and Marcus Rashford are really, really doubtful. I mean, Shreyas, we are quite literally at the bare bones of this team at the minute. I don't know what team's going to be fielded tomorrow, but what's your reaction to that?
I mean, genuinely, we've not got anyone. Like we need to call in players from the under 18s, under 19s to actually fill in the bench. Backline, we've already seen what happened against Coventry. So I think backline Casemiro will be dropped to be playing as the centre back. But Midfield, then it means you're left with Menu, you're left with Ericsson, and if Bruno is not injured, then Bruno. But apart from it, if McTominay is not going to be there, Rashford isn't going to be there. uh,
Jesus
Even
Christ.
the opposition can fairly estimate as to what our starting 11 is going to look like. Like there are not really a lot of options to choose from. You've only got one player in every single position just left.
Mate, we are going to get beat by Sheffield, aren't we? We're going to get beat
Yeah.
by Sheffield. There's a couple more comments coming out from the presser as well. Ten Hag describes the reaction to United's FA Cup semi-final penalty shootout win as embarrassing and a disgrace, apparently. Now, I'm not sure if that's in terms of fans or the way someone like Anthony reacted, or I'm not sure what he's referencing there. On Anthony said, did you see the reaction Harry Maguire? He was provoked. That's why this was the reaction of that. You haven't seen the provocation, only reaction, but he should not do it. I think that's on Anthony. Yeah. We have to win every game. That's United stands for. That is our approach. Go from game to game, but we have to qualify for Europe, and we have 2 opportunities in the Premier League and the FA Cup final. On Maguire said, I've seen Maguire straight after and others. We should acknowledge the performance of Coventry coming to the final and come back with 70 minutes totally dominating the game by far. 3-0 must have been the game is closed. But the return from their side was very, very good. On Jason Wilcox, he said, I met him yesterday for the first time. This week we will not have so much time, and I know his profile, a lot of experience in youth and 1 year at Southampton. I'm looking forward to our partnership. Very interesting. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, let's see how it actually fares up because I expect a lot of changes to be made. And I think for me, I don't see Ten Hag being the manager next season. Like I like genuinely speaking, even if there are not a lot of alternatives out there, I still don't see him being the manager because Ineos have been very ruthless, and Ineos are going to be very ruthless in this coming window as well. And I get we have a lot of injuries. I also understand that we've not got a lot of options to choose from, but Newport, the game against Newport was actually quite awakening for me already. And
Yeah.
yesterday, in the last game against Coventry as well, you're up 3-0 against a championship side who are 8th or 9th in their table, and you'd absolutely just throw it away 3-3, and I genuinely think United just got lucky that
Well,
they hit that goal and it got called offside.
I haven't seen anything yet in updates in terms of players, centre backs who may be available. So maybe if that happens, I know you speak about Ten Hag's future there, but I'm saying obviously this game tomorrow matters in regards to his future because if he loses to Sheffield, I mean, fucking hell, I don't know what I can say about that. They've won 3 all season and they've got a minus 88 goal difference or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, like you said, like if McTominay's out and Rashford's out, for me, Rashford being out, it's a bad thing. I never want a player to get injured, but that I'm then hoping Ahmad can get a full 90 minutes, an opportunity to show. It won't happen. He'll play Garnacho, he'll play Anthony. We both know that. I'm not having faith in it because he will, but I think he deserves it. I think he should get an opportunity on the right.
Yeah.
And then the midfield, hopefully one of the centre backs is back in Camwala, whoever it is, and we can move Casemiro into the midfield, put him alongside Kobe, and then have Kobe, fucking hell, Kobe, Casemiro, and Ericsson as a 10, let's just say, for example, if we have to go down that route, because it's change. Yeah. It's change in that sense. So if there's a silver lining, maybe there's a rotation somewhere. I don't have a fucking clue, to be honest with you. But, I mean, we are really, really crumbling towards the end of the season. Ten Hag's just been asked about his lack of focus. Said, first of all, the most important thing we can do to put ourselves in a winning position is by good structure. And we have seen that on many occasions. We've seen by the first goal in other games, but bring the game... What? We have seen that on many occasions. We have seen by the first goal and other games, but bring the game over the line. Some things have to do with mentally physics. We don't have the tools as well. That is such... My brain almost was like, what the fuck is that? I don't get what he's saying. I'm really confused with this manager and this team. I don't know. We put out the Sheffield preview this morning, guys. So if you haven't watched that, please do go check that out. Just me and Sam on that one, discussing the game in depth, how we see it going, what players could be available, which we're just later on finding out now, who's not available. So again, it's going to be another struggle, fascinating game. Just your thoughts on that, Shreyas, before we head off on the game.
Yeah, against Sheffield.
Yeah.
We're drawing or losing.
You think?
Yeah, I think it's so. Look, the thing is, even with the lack of options we've got, Ten Hag still isn't going to change the way we play. Like even against Coventry, I saw the game. You know how we played that game, especially having players like Casemiro and Maguire, who I would say, if he actually made certain tweaks, could make a good partnership. But he doesn't want to make those tweaks. He wants to stick to the way he's playing right now. And now that you probably don't even have Bruno to actually do the legwork. Like Eriksen cannot do the legwork that Bruno does. So I think against Sheffield as well, we either draw or we lose. That's the only way it goes. And I think Newcastle will make the most of this opportunity right now.
I think,
Like, can you imagine even Chelsea have got a game in hand on us? If they win, they are level on points with us.
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I think if you lose tomorrow, I think a lot of people are kind of done with this season and done with the manager and players anyway. But if you lose tomorrow, especially, there ain't no coming back from that. You can't lose to Sheffield. They're absolutely dog shit. But they're going to take advantage of that. Sheffield will be looking, they'll look at our team now and they'll be like, lads, if Coventry can bring 3 goals back against this lot, we've got a chance. You know what I mean? We're in the Premier League. We've got a chance to beat these. So I think tomorrow's team, God knows. Just give us a prediction for the team before we go, actually. How do you think we're going to line up? After hearing that news, what do you think the starting 11 is going to be?
Onana, Dallo, Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Maguire will be the backline. Then Menu, Eriksen, and Bruno. And apart from it, you'll Anthony, Hoyland, and Garnacho. That's it. That's your entire 11 done. That is genuinely the 11 players we've got right now.
And then on the bench, we've got the under 12s.
Yeah.
In case we need them.
Cannot even pronounce certain players' name.
No. Yeah, just there, just so they just put a body on there. I mean, they've got fucking other people back in. It's just
you need to think what would go, what actually goes on in their heads. The kids who are actually brought to these games and made to sit on the bench.
I mean, it's a great experience for him in that sense. They wouldn't have got that opportunity. I mean, Cam Wilder probably wouldn't have got that opportunity if we hadn't had 5 centre backs out.
But imagine going away to Sheffield, you're losing 2-1 or you're drawing 2-2, and then the manager looks at you and says,
16-year-old, he goes,
yeah,
we've got no one left, mate. You're going to have to go on. And they're like, all right, you know what I mean? Like 16-year-old.
Like that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I'll be all right, mate. I'll just, sore ankle. I'll stay on the bench, pal. Like, madness.
Even get injured.
Yeah. Eric Ten Hag said the media were embarrassing with their reaction to United getting to the final. Charlie Malman says, I give Eric Ten Hag a 30% chance to be a manager next season, 70% that he gets removed for another one. Scotty is out. I said this would happen before the game. Ten Hag plays hurt players and does not listen to the medical staff, and here we are to blame the medical. 80% chance we get Tuchel. He's come out and said he wants United to his agent. I think I want Eric Ten Hag to continue. Charlie Malman is also saying 1-1. Come on, lads, let's have some foolish optimism. We're winning 4-0. Oh, God. Well, we have got some football tonight, actually, as well. I think Chelsea play at Arsenal, and so there's some interesting games coming up. But as always, we'll be live pre-match and post-match.
What do you actually think, though, happens in the final now?
The FA Cup?
Yeah, against City.
I don't know, because I don't know who's going to be available. I don't know if Mount, Lissandro, Evans, Lindelof.
Even if players are available.
Okay, but I mean, like, at least if Lissandro and Shaw are back for that game, it gives me a little bit more optimism. But I've said it on the thing. I think we're going to get beat either way. Before we even beat Coventry and got through, I think it's just going to happen again because City are far superior to us, which kills me to say, but it's the truth and reality of the situation. But yeah, we'll be live for pre-match and post-match tomorrow, so please do come and join us. 8 o'clock kickoff, I believe it is. So yeah, excited to see what lineup's going to be put out. And make sure you turn on notification bell if you can on the YouTube channel, so when we do go live, you don't miss a thing. Subscribe to the channel. We're currently on 4,802, and we want to hit 5K before the end of the season. So if you can help us do that, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you to Sir Alex for coming on. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See you in a bit.